The headlines on Reporting Scotland this Thursday lunchtime. Part of the Scottish Government's alternative Brexit legislation has been ruled to be outside of Holyrood's powers by the Supreme Court. Good afternoon to you. The UK Supreme Court has ruled that parts of the Scottish Government's Continuity Bill, which prepares Scottish laws for Brexit, are unconstitutional. But most of that issue arises because the UK Government changed the legal setup after the Scottish Bill was introduced. Scottish ministers will now consult before deciding what to do next. Our political editor Brian Taylor is at Holyrood for us this lunchtime. Brian.
Thanks very much indeed. You'll recall that there was contention over how to bring back EU laws to these islands, to the UK as a whole and to Scotland in particular. In this case, Scottish ministers were concerned that it wasn't being done properly at the UK level, so they brought in what they called a continuity bill at this Parliament here in Holyrood to transfer Scots laws in devolved territories into Scottish legislation. Now, that was then challenged as to whether it was going beyond Holyrood's powers. We had the ruling today from the UK Supreme Court. They said that at the time that bill was introduced, apart from one section, it was in line with powers. It was constitutional. But things changed when the UK government brought in their own UK Withdrawal Act, the Brexit Act, and that was then given protected status, which meant that the Scottish Parliament couldn't make any alterations to it. Here's Lady Hale from the UK Supreme Court.
However, the European Union Withdrawal Act changes the legal landscape. The bill has to be judged not as at the date when it was passed, but as at the date when it would receive royal assent. The UK Act is protected against modification, which prevents the Scottish Bill from amending, superseding, disapplying or repealing provisions of that Act.
Now, the Scottish Government say that therefore their bill was fine and it was only what they call constitutional vandalism by the UK that created problems. But David Mundell, the Scottish Secretary, says what's needed now is pragmatism and the Scottish Government should work with the UK perspective. Here are those two views.
The Scottish Government, the Scottish Parliament were right at the beginning. They're right now. And what has happened in the middle is that the Tories are desperate to try and undermine us. But we will always speak up for Scotland. This entire Parliament, not just the SNP, this entire Parliament spoke up for Scotland and will go on doing it.
I don't see a need for the continuity bill. I didn't see the need for it previously, but it is ultimately within the powers of the Scottish Parliament, a matter for the Scottish Parliament and Scottish Government.
It is indeed. The Lord Advocate will make a statement to Parliament this afternoon. Will also, Mike Russell says he will consult other parties with a view to determining what to do next.
Brian, thanks very much for that.